session. Thank you for day 2. We are so happy to see you here. This is the second session that we are having on this Zoom, and we are so delighted to see Dr. Omopeju Afanu, hopefully I pronounce this right, with us. Right, it's such a grace, we are so lucky to have her today. So I will do a quick introduction and I'll be able to leave the floor to actually the people that needs to be there, not me talking all the time. So our dear Dr. Omopeju Afanu is a serial entrepreneur, right? And well-versed in project management, finance, administration with experience in managing different scales of projects, earning her position of management consultant, managing director, and VP COO of a few organizations. She is the founder of a hospitality management company, Copper House Hospitality, which, though while in a startup phase, was engaged by the Lagos state government as the sole vocational. So you can hear why we are so delighted and happy to see her in this space. We are so happy to have you. Welcome, Omopeju Afanu. You are on mute.
Hi, such a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on wherever you're joining from. I'm so excited. You can see I'm all smiles, I can't wait to get into the session, and I hope we have a very nice time together today.
To be able to facilitate, we will leave you this floor to be able to share your slide, and we would be accountable for all the Nadia and I that I obviously didn't present. Thank you, Nadia, for being here. She's our co-partner here. We'll be there to mute whatever will be troubling you for the session. We will manage it. Please just share your knowledge with us during the session.
All right, thank you. Okay. Trying to, okay, so I'll begin. Okay. Hello, everyone. You're welcome to this session, and I'm going to be speaking about agile government, using data-driven metrics for effective governance. I'm actually pretty excited about this because I've done this intro already, so I'm not going to go into that because I feel I'm actually very passionate about governance and about nation building. And over the years, I have been observing and looking at how best government can deliver value to citizens. I remember in 2020, I actually wrote a paper on which I published on a couple of platforms on implementation, which is the bane of African leadership. And you find out that a lot of leaders have brilliant and fantastic intentions and how they want to do so much. And then during COVID, there was so much happening in my country, and not just in my country, across other African countries. And the people didn't get the value, didn't get the impacts that the government had put out there, the palliatives that government had put out there for citizens to enjoy were kept in warehouses, and so many things happened at the time. And it was just unfortunate. And I started looking at it, and I thought of, at that time, I looked at a project management type of system because that was my area of expertise. But in the last 2 years, I got exposed to the agile system, agile framework, and I realized that this is the future, right? This is the way governments should operate, because if you want to deliver value quickly, if you want to deliver value to your citizens, if you have big plans, big vision for your people, the best way to realize that vision is to be agile. And I'm starting with these two phrases, and I say success of any government is measured by the level of impact they can achieve part-time. So when you look at government, a lot of the time government is not a business. Yes, at that time I said you should manage it like a business. Government is centered around impact. So it's not about profit and loss. It's not about how much money you make. It is about how much impact you're able to deliver to your citizens, how much value your citizens can get with you as the leader of the country. So that's the key focus everybody should start looking at. That is the key function of government, is to ensure the efficiency and effectiveness of the policies and programs they're putting out there. Because every time government come up with policies, they come up with programs, they come up with plans, they have big dreams. They have amazing dreams. But at the end of the day, you find out that 80% of these dreams or visions never get realized. Or they started and you find out that it's a wasted project, or it's the impact, there's no impact, then they're not delivering the value that they promised to deliver. Like that's like 90% of the time. And that's where agile is different, because with agile you start to see you deliver in small bits, and then you are sure that whatever you're delivering is in alignment with what the citizens want. And then you also now have the opportunity to look at to measure, because a lot of the time you don't even do like a needs assessment, you don't even know what people want. So with agile you're developing programs around research. You've done all your exploration, you're sure of what you want to do, you've done all the groundwork, you're delivering in bits and pieces, and you're ensuring that as you're releasing and you're deploying these solutions, or you're deploying this value to the citizens, everybody's enjoying it, and it's exactly what they want, not what you think they want. And I think that's one of the key factors that is affecting governance, because a lot of the times the leaders feel that they know what we want. They assume that this is what people want. Meanwhile, that is not the right way to go about it. Why not use data? Why not look at how to collect information and understand what people want? Because what is needed in a particular area might be different from what is needed in the next, even within the same community. Different people, different demographics have different types of needs. So you need to understand what the needs are, and you now structure and design your program around those needs. And that's where data comes in, because with data, you can analyze it. Data doesn't lie. With data, you can measure. With data, you can say we want to impact 1,000, and you can track and measure and be sure that you are able to achieve that impact. With data, you're able to know that what these 1,000 people, what exactly do they need? And you also need to take into cognizance that people's needs would always change. And needs change almost on a daily basis. So as you're solving one problem today, another problem could come up, because now you've solved the problem. So that's no longer a problem for them. So you need to be dynamic. You need to be flexible. You need to understand what people need and what people want at every point in time as a leader. And that's why agile is like the solution to every problem government is facing right now. So let me go to my next slide. So I created this framework and tried to break it down to the level that we can understand it. Like when you look at the presidency, you have your ministers, and then we have the civil servants. So the presidency has like a big vision. That's like the portfolio vision. And they say, this is what we want. They have like the overarching vision that we want to let me use Nigeria as an example. We want to lift 100 million people out of poverty. That's the big vision, right? And then you now move to your ministers, who are like the product managers, and then they now you have the epics. I'm trying to use terms. I don't want to use terms that a lot of people would understand, especially those that are not agile, So you have like the big picture, which is the big vision. Those big visions are now broken down. Instead of, let me call my epics into programs, right? So this big vision is broken down into programs. So for me to lift 100 million people out of poverty, it's going to involve practically all the ministers in the federation to do this. And every ministry has a role to play. So if it's Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, what are the key programs that you need to implement in that ministry to be able to lift these people out of poverty? If you have humanitarian affairs and poverty alleviation, you have technology, you have works. So you have all these ministries coming together and coming up with their different programs. And these are the things that we want to do. And then those programs, you now have your, we call it a release train. So each of this program, you have a train that you say, we want to release a particular value, which is, let's say, we want to set up, incubation hubs in 10 local governments. But that's that, okay, across the country. Let us start with across the country. So if you have incubation hubs across the country, you're talking about maybe over 500 of those incubation hubs. But because you know that you cannot implement all of it at the same time, at that level, as a minister, you're breaking it down to, okay, let us start with one. And in that one, it's like a program. How long would it take us to take it from idea to releasing it? That's deployment, to enabling people have access to this facility. So you'll now say, if you say it's going to take a year, so that's your timeline for that implementation. And then you break it down into cadence, you break it down into key activities. That's why the team now comes in, which is the civil servants. So the civil servant's role is now to break it down into actionable plans. We call it stories in Agile, but you break it into small plans. I'm trying to use both Agile terms and layman terms so that people can understand it, those that are not Agile, So you break it out into stories, and these stories, the team have you decide on your cadence. You can have 2 weeks cadence, you can have a 1 week cadence, you can have a 1 month cadence, but it's always better to do a 2 weeks cadence to say, for us to be able to develop this incubation hubs, the first thing we want to do is to have a needs assessment. And we have that is a story. We can create that into a story and say, we want to do a needs assessment. How long would it take us to achieve this needs assessment? So that's where the team comes in, and then they go and get that information out within the 2 weeks period, which will guide you to the next phase. So if you continue like that, by the time you're finishing your by the time you start from the first month to the 12-month period that you've assigned to enable you to deliver at least 10 incubation centers, you'll be sure there'll be a lot of changes that will come along the way, because as you're doing it, you're testing, you're reviewing, the iteration keeps continuing, and then people begin to see, by the time you're deploying value that people really want, because they've been a part of the process. Your contractors are going to be at your product manager level. You have your release train, because they're the ones that will be implementing these solutions to enable you they're developing the solution with you, so that at the end of the day, once you're done, you're sure that it is exactly what the people want, not what you're assuming people want. So let me move to my next. I hope I've been able to explain how to break down using the Agile framework from the presidency right down to the MDAs, that's the ministries, departments, and agencies. So let me move to the next slide. So I look at this as I call it my Agile leadership framework. And when you're Agile, you have to be flexible. Flexibility is one of the key drivers in agility, because you can't have a fixed mindset and claim that you're Agile. Even though you have a particular idea, if you have a particular idea and say, this is what we want to do, but when you start to explore, when you start in Agile, we talk about continuous delivery pipeline. And when you're doing your CPD, you have continuous exploration, continuous integration, and continuous deployment. So when you are exploring, you find out what are the things that we need to do. So even when you start, you might find out that where you started from, by the time you explore all the options, do your research, get all the details and information that it's completely different from where you started from. What you end up with is completely different from how you started, because you've continued to explore, and then you now look at how to integrate. Even in the integration, you find out that in the process of integrating, the process of developing the solution, so many things are changing, so many factors that you didn't consider at the start have come in, and you now need to review and change or adjust what your initial plan was. So at the end of the day, you don't have to wait until where Agile is different. You don't need to wait until, we want to build a hub. and then you build the hub finish, then you now start thinking of, oh, this is not what we should have done. We should have done it differently. That's where the flexibility comes in. You'd have already seen these changes even before you deploy, before you go live and say, we're releasing this hub for people to use. You are 101% sure that this is exactly what people want. There's no ambiguity to it. It's straight to the point. It is clear and it is direct. And Agile looks at teamwork, where you can't be agile and not explore teamwork, because you need your team, and everybody within the team needs to bring in their strengths. You need to leverage on the strengths, and you also need to know where your team is lacking and look at how to integrate this, how to improve on them. Have CPD sessions, continuous improvement, continuous professional development sessions, where you can learn something new, acquire a new skill to enable you to deliver better value to the internal or external customers, to enable you be a better person, to enable you be a better professional or whatever it is that you're doing. So teamwork is important, because in Agile, at the team level, everybody brings in we leverage on each individual strength, because you need to know the capacity of everybody. And then you don't assign tasks to people that you know they will not be able to deliver on that task. That's what is beautiful about Agile. You know that this person can deliver a particular task in 1 hour. You don't now tell the person to go and do a task that will take them, assign a task that will take them, that is supposed to be, say, go and work on it for 5 hours, where you know that person could have delivered 5 tasks of the same task in that 5 hours. So you need to know, okay, what can you deliver? Or you don't assign a task to somebody that will take him 5 hours and you tell the person to deliver it in 1 hour. Meanwhile, there's somebody else on the team that can handle that same task in 1 hour. So why not assign it to the person that will deliver it in 1 hour, as against assigning that task to somebody that will deliver it in 5 hours? And then it's also slowing down the pace of your work, and the people are not going to be happy. They're going to be disgruntled. So it's important that we understand agility. It's important that we understand the importance of teamwork and understanding your team's capacity part-time to enable you deliver value to your stakeholders. And the stakeholders are both internal and external, which are the citizens of the country. And you monitor, you can't just start something and not monitor it. You keep monitoring. With Agile, you're monitoring to ensure that what you're doing, you're on course, you're integrating, you're checking, you're getting feedback on whatever it is you're doing demos. And that's why I fell in love with agility when I heard about it, because you just check everything. It just makes life so seamless. You have a self-organizing team that knows exactly what to do. You don't have to be a helicopter leader anymore. You're more focused, and then you find out that you're more at you can think better. You can come up with bigger ideas, bigger vision, because you know that you have a team at the back that can deliver on these visions, these big, crazy visions that you have. So it's important. And once you keep monitoring, once you're on top of your game, you now review. Once you monitor and you see that there's something that is going wrong, or there's something that is going right, how do you expand on that thing that is going right? Or if something is not going right, when you review it, what are the things that you now need to do? How do you correct it? How do you make things change the whole dynamics to ensure that at the end of the day, the one thing that you're able to do. So all these are keys that would unlock the one thing, which is the value, because you're in business or you're in government to deliver value. And once you're able to deliver that value, then every other thing will fall into place. So this is my last slide. So I call it my performance improvement process. And it just talks about everything. It's just like a summary of everything about agility. And it talks about collaboration. Agile is very collaborative. And you need to be able to communicate with your team. You need to be able to pass across the right message to your team, because if you don't communicate effectively to your team, you find out that you will struggle a lot. So effective communication is very, very critical. And there's something about Agile that they call daily stand-ups. When you have your daily stand-up is just like a 10, 15 minutes meeting that you have with your team every day, where you review what you had done in the past, in the last day, and then what are you going to do today, and what were the mistakes that you made yesterday, or what were you not able to achieve yesterday, and how do you improve upon it today? So with those short feedback loops, it makes it easy to continue to improve on a daily basis. It makes your team feel very integrated. And with Agile, you can have one minister can have like 1,000 teams, because each department can have like 100 teams working under them, and they come up with a result. So Agile can be broken down from ministry level to departmental level to agency level. Each agency can have like 5 Agile teams that are working together, and it makes you become more collaborative, because now I'm not overstressed. And that's why Agile enhances teamwork, because once you know what your capacity is, you don't feel like, oh, this person is dropping the ball, and then they're not doing as much. I'm doing all the work. I'm not even getting enough credit for it. But when you're Agile, everybody has a role to play, and everybody works according to their capacity. So it's not like you have an 8-hour work day. So everybody in that 8 hours, everybody's productive. Unlike what we have in this country, where you have an 8-hour work day, maybe out of 1,000 people that are working, maybe just 10% of them actually working for 8 hours. The rest are working for probably 3 hours, 5 hours in the whole day. That's how you get to save a lot of money, because you find out that you don't even need as many people, because if people were actually working according to the number of hours that they're expected to work, you might not need as many people as you currently have, because they're not doing anything. They're only working for 3 hours. So if you combine 3 hours times 3 people, that's already 9 hours. So you already eliminated about 2 people. So everybody within the team would trust each other, because they know that we all have a role to play. Agile helps you build trust within your team, because if you don't trust each other, you can't even work together. And everybody knows that nobody is here. Everybody has a critical role to play in the delivery of whatever task they have to deliver on. Everybody knows their capacity, and you have to be very honest with yourselves. So you're not holding anything back at all. You know that if I can't deliver on something, I have my team is there to cover my back. So Agile builds that trust within your team, because there's a lot of transparency in what everybody can do. There's a lot of honesty, there's a lot of integrity within the team members. So nobody's underperforming. And and Agile doesn't look at individual performance. It looks at the collective team's performance. So if a team is not able to deliver, then it's not going to be about one person that didn't deliver. It's about the entire team. And it also helps you track who within the team is constantly dropping the ball. So when you've assigned tasks and you can see clearly that this person is supposed to deliver on this particular task, and that person is not delivering, your Scrum Master can now find out what are the issues, can collaborate with them, can discuss with them, can engage them to find out what are the impediments that they're facing, and how can they help remove those impediments for them to perform better. But if you find out that that person is not even ready or willing to work around these impediments or improve on their capacity to deliver, then you know that that person has to be taken out of the team, or the person is not working, you're not effectively utilizing the person, because the person could have functioned better in a different team. So it's important to understand that. And once your team members understand that you've got their back, you would always look for the best way to enhance and improve on their skill set, on their knowledge, on their exposure. You help them organize, and then they become better organized, they become self-organizing. Automatically, trust will be built. And Agile encourages team-based planning events, which is what the daily stand-up I've talked about. You sit down as a team, and then you plan what you want to do. It's not one person saying, this is what I want to do. It's about the entire team coming together and saying, this is what this is the goal we have for this 1 week iteration, for this 2 weeks iteration. This is what each of us have to do. This is how we're going to deliver it. And everybody comes together and everybody is so committed. Everybody is so together that they know that they don't know, but if I don't deliver, I might affect the other person, because you have your Kanban board, you can see your to-do, you can see what is currently going, you can see what you have done, and it also helps you limit your work in progress. So you know that you don't have too many jobs that is pending, nothing is being done. You can see and know that this is where we are. We're able to deliver. We've assigned ourselves to 20 tasks. Are we able to deliver the 20 tasks at the end of the cadence? Are we able to deliver only 10? Why didn't we deliver it? What are the impediments we face? And the thing is, when you have your team-based planning events, you find out that there are even some, like the PI planning events, which incorporates a lot of other teams. You have different teams, and a lot of things that you're doing within your team might affect the deliverables in another team. So you already know that everybody knows how they're interconnected within the organization. Everybody knows what role each of them needs to play for you to be able to deliver on any project. So it might even be a different ministry entirely that might impede your success within your own ministry. So it's important that people understand this. It's important that the teams begin to see this. And at local from ministries, from agencies, even look, every level of governance should deploy this system, should be transformed. We need like a radical transformation within the government so that they can begin to see this and everybody understands their role. So I'll talk about PDCA. So PDCA is the plan, do, check, and adjust. So you have a big plan. You come up with your big plan. Once you've planned it, you go and implement it. But when you implement it, you need to check it. You need to review. You need to look at what is going well. Okay, you've set up these hubs. You've planned it. You've gone live. Your hubs are being set up. And then do you go back to check it to ensure that is it still working the way we designed it to work? Are there things that we need to change in the whole process? Are there things that we need to bring into the system that we didn't even consider at the time? Because it is now it is now deployed, what are the things we need to adjust? So it's, even if you've gone through the whole process and you're sure that you delivered the value, but you also need to keep checking it. You need to go back and review it. You need to be sure that that value that you're delivering is still delivering the value you want it to deliver. And if it is not, you now go back and check it and adjust it. What are the things that you need to adjust? What are the things you need to change? What are you need to improve on? What are the things you need to take out of the system because it's causing impediments? It's affecting the delivery of the value that you hope this will deliver. Sorry. So once you've done that, you're able to assess the value that you're delivering. You're very certain of what you are doing as a leader, as a team, as a president, as a minister, as the head of a small department that seems irrelevant in the whole system of things, but because everybody now knows their role. Everybody realizes that even this department that we thought was unimportant plays a critical role in the delivery of the value we have. It could just be simple thing as writing the right letters or making the right publications or passing out the right information. So everybody has a critical role towards the success of any project. And in agility, you look at lean portfolio management. And lean portfolio management enables you align your strategy with the funding and execution. It helps you provide guardrails. It helps you ensure that whatever funding you've budgeted for the project, you're staying within that funding limit. You are not exceeding it. You're monitoring. You're ensuring that everything that you're supposed to do is delivered. You're not your budgets are together. Because before you even arrived at the budget, you've gone through a whole long process. You already know all the costs. You've identified everything that you need to be able to deliver the project. So having a cost overrun is something that is almost unlikely. You already know the teams that you need, you know the resources, except for circumstances that are beyond your control, which is where risk comes in. And even in the agile system, risk is factored. You already know the risk. You know the ones that you want to own. You know the ones you're going to accept. You know that these are things that can happen, and you already have solutions to how best to manage it when it comes up. So nothing is going to be coming to you as a surprise, because everything has been planned from the start. And the beauty of agile is, if everybody is not in alignment, you would never go forward until everybody's concerns have been adequately addressed. That is the beauty of it. So there's nobody that would come tomorrow and say, well, I didn't agree to this. No, everybody, we all have to agree. And if we don't agree, we will find ways to review the project, or review the program, review the strategy, review everything we need to review to ensure that we have 100% buy-in. And I think that's one of the critical things that affects implementation or delivery in our processes, because some people don't agree to it, but because they don't feel confident enough to be able to express their misgivings, to be able to express themselves like, I don't agree with this, I think this should have been a better way. So quietly they don't agree, but they would not voice out. But with agile, everything is open, it's transparent. You have a voice, and it gives you the room to express yourself. Nobody's voice is hidden. Everybody has a voice and has a role to play in the whole scheme of things. There's nobody's voice that can be silenced, because silencing that voice can be the impediment to the success of the project. So everybody must align. If we're all in alignment, then we're sure of the value we're able to deliver. It also helps to optimize operations across the organization, because everybody is working at their best. Everybody's putting in the number of hours they're supposed to put in. Everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to be doing at every time, because you have a task, you have a deliverable, you have a timeline, and they're constantly being monitored. Sometimes when you give somebody a task and you don't monitor every day, somebody would have forgotten. But when you have to, these are the things we need to do today. Tomorrow, when we have a meeting tomorrow, we're reviewing, okay, how much of this has been done? What is left to be done? So there's no way it would not be optimized. There's no way your operations will not exceed and surpass your expectations. There's no way you will not be able to deliver value, because everybody is following the process. Everybody is delivering on their task. Each team is you don't have to wait for the head of the organization to take a decision. Each team can take decisions independently. It's because they already have the big picture, and they know how this decision impacts on the big picture. And there's somebody that's interfacing and ensuring that everything goes in line. You have your scrum master, you have your release your release train engineers. Well, I won't call them release train, and you have your ministers. So your release train engineers can function as your ministers. So your minister is there to enable alignment with with the strategy, with that of the president. That's the portfolio level, and everybody is in alignment. So you can find out that where decision, all those bottlenecks and bureaucracy that comes up in decision making is all eliminated, and you're able to deliver that value quickly, effectively, and efficiently. And there's no bottleneck encountered at any point. There's no impediment. Every single impediment that could have existed will be effectively removed from the entire process. And finally, you have the continuous delivery pipeline. I talked about it earlier, where for you to deliver a program, you need to do a lot of research. And I think that is what is killing us. We have big ideas, but there's no research. And that's not saying that you should do research and don't even go to the market. No, you use a design thinking framework to enable you come up with the right solution that you need to deliver on. And then you now start to integrate, you start to deliver, you bring everybody together and look at how to deliver on that solution. You bring everybody together, ask for their opinions, what roles they have to play, define it. and let everybody know what their work schedules are, what their responsibilities are, what role they have to play in the whole scheme of things, and all the interdependencies that they would experience. If there's anything that they feel this is not going to be done, this is not going to happen properly, this we need to review something, you review it and you keep integrating all these recommendations, all these reviews, all these results, even positive results. It's going to be integrated into it, because you know that if you've done something and it's working well, you do it, you keep doing it, you improve on it. But if something is not working well, you need to know that this is not working well. How do we as a team, because in Agile, there's no I in Agile. Agile is a we spirit. That's team spirit. It's not about one person. It's about everybody. And then how can you now continuously deliver? Continuous deployment is continuous delivery. And something like even have scheduled delivery, like fixed delivery times, and say, okay, we want to deliver this particular product in 1 year. Or you can just be deploying bits and pieces, releasing it to the market based on the market needs, based on the report, based on the feedback you've gotten, that we would rather start with this, then you deliver this one in the next one until you get to the final main delivery. That at the end of the day, by the time you've gone through those little deployments, it will eventually give you the solution that you want, that you're working towards, or you just have that solution delivered one time. So it now depends on what, and that's where design thinking comes, because you've already known what the market needs. You've known how the market wants to deliver to them. You know when they want to deliver to them. You know the best time to, so all these things are not as options. And if our leaders sit down and say, we want to transition, we want to transform the way we do the government, we want to transform the way we deliver value. Government can, the only way you can assess, you can verify the value that the government is delivering is based on the impact. And how many people are you as a government able to impact? How do you get this data? How do you analyze this data? How do you now confirm and verify? Because you need verification and validation to confirm that this is what we wanted to achieve, and this is what we have achieved. We've not at any point shortchanged anybody, even if we've not achieved it 100%, but you can see that we're in the process. We can see the timelines. You can see how it's going to be implemented. It builds confidence. Even the people become more confident in the government because they know that within XYZ period, they will deliver. They've already started seeing it. You said you will deliver something in 1 month. In that 1 month, they've seen that this has been delivered. You said something will be delivered in 2 months. It is delivered. In 6 months, it is delivered. And it is delivered, and it is giving them the exact impact and the exact value that they were hoping to get from that solution. So once they see that, if you tell them that's going to take a 10-year period, they would be confident because they know that from your antecedents, from the track records of the solutions and the value that you have been delivering to them, they don't have anything to worry about. And that is why I feel, and I'm so passionate about government going agile. And I believe we'll continue to speak about it. We'll continue to advocate for it. And we hope that within a very short period, in the not too distant future, all governments, especially my country, because I feel that we need it more than anybody else in the world, because we cannot be rich with human resources, material resources, everything you want to imagine, and you find out that we're doing so poorly. And I know that once Nigeria is transformed, once the leadership process is transformed, once we become agile, we will be better for it. And Nigeria would indeed grow. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you a lot. Thank you a lot for all the information that you were sharing right now. As we were saying in all the elements of this conference, please don't hesitate if you have any questions. If you want to ask her about anything, I'm looking in the chat that people are actually very happy and saying that we really need this in Africa. We really need this in our space. So while I'm leaving the space for people to actually come and ask their questions, I would come with one question first, because I've always seen and understood African government as immutable, unchangeable. And we are talking about agile in government space. So I wanted to ask you first, I have two questions actually, and I will start with the first one will be, what were the biggest challenges that you face or you believe we would face in bringing agility into the government space? And the other things would be, what would you recommend as skills for the people to go into that space? Because you shared a lot about agility, what it should be, what it brings. And now for the people listening here, how does it impact them having more knowledge about what challenges they might face if they want to bring agility into that phase, and maybe the skills they need to grow. So yes, please.
Okay, so I would say some of the key things that the key challenges we're going to face is getting the people to understand agility. That's getting, because they don't even understand. They're used to doing things in a particular way, which is giving room to a lot of graft, which is giving room to a lot of it allows a lot of things that should not be to happen. I don't want to put the right word. I don't want to say corruption in the actual sense of it, but that is going to, when you become agile, it's going to streamline a lot of things, and a lot of gray areas will become clearer. And the beauty of that is that now the resources that is being siphoned, that is being mismanaged, will be better managed. And that's why it's essential, because now you cannot, we have to transition, because you cannot tell me you want to spend 100 billion on something that will yield zero results or that would give zero impact. If we are going to be agile, we need to say we are going to invest 100 million. And that 100 million is going to deliver XYZ impact. And you will be able to deliver that impact. It's important that we have that in place. It's going to be difficult because some jobs might be lost. Some people will definitely lose their jobs because they're not ready. They will not be ready to adapt. They're already used to business. I said, when I did my video, I said, it is about business unusual. It cannot be business as usual. No, we cannot continue to do things in the wrong way. We can't be doing things in a particular way and expect to have a different result. You have to do a total overhaul, a total shift. If we don't do that, there will be a lot of resistance. The resistance will be intense. And that's why there's need for interaction, there's need for demonstration of how it's effective. There's need for them to start to see the value. So you need to get their buy-in. It's going to be a tedious and a long process, but it's going to be a gradual process that at the end of the day, that value will still be realized. That value will still be delivered, because when they see the impact of that value, they would also, if you tell me that at the end of the day, if we're able to do this right, you'll spend less money on hospital bills. Tell me, would they not? You need to let them see the outcome. You know that this output, by delivering on these outputs, these are the type of outcomes you want to, you're going to be expecting. Tell me that dollar, I'm sure if you tell people now that if we're able to transition, dollar is going to move from 1,000 naira to 300 naira. I'm sure that is going to be one of the greatest buy-in for people, because everybody's complaining. We're all in this together, and we all have a role to play. So it's letting them understand the role they have to play and how important their role is in the whole scheme of things. I think with that, people will start to accept it more and they'll be more willing to transfer. And by the time they start seeing the value as well, they'll be pretty happy.
I am looking at the chat, and I think that we have even another question from Chinwendu.
Yes.
Please, how will this apply in the school sector? So I definitely believe that there is this question about we are going to, like, the school sector is a little bit different or not from government, and they want to know a little bit about how that could be applied. So any few tips and tricks for her?
Yes, so for everything sorry, can we mute this mic?
Yes, done.
Okay. So everything in life, there's nothing, even if you want to do it. Someone said how he used agility to plan his wedding. It's the same way in the school system. You just need to know what are the values you want to deliver in your school. What role does each person within the organization have to play? What are the tasks that needs to be done? So is it classroom sessions? Okay, we want to ensure that our students understand a particular topic. You're teaching a particular topic, even that's in the classroom level now. You're teaching a particular topic, and then everybody's assumed to understand. Every student should have understood what you are teaching. So if at the end of the day, you assess them, you give them homework, they come the next day, you're looking at their homework, when you're having your daily stand-up, you're discussing it, that, oh, my class, we tried to do this and it's not working. What can we do differently? That's part of being agile. You're trying to look at how to continuously improve on the process to enable you deliver value. Oh, this particular student is having this challenge. What do you think? That's where the stand-up comes in, because you're now conversing, you're discussing, you're explaining, you're looking at all the impediments that you're facing, all that, or the particular model of teaching is not working for this student, or is not working for the particular topic I'm trying to bring forward. I thought of a new system, a new idea. That is what agility is about. It's about flexibility. It's about giving the best, improving on your process every single time. So there's no space, there's no organization you cannot introduce agile into. Nothing. All you're just doing is delivering value in bits and pieces consistently. Not waiting and saying at the end of, before you can assess how well your students are doing is at the end of the term. No, every week, every day, you're reviewing, you have your iterations, you're checking to ensure that, okay, this is what we plan to do for this student. Are they adopting it? So by the time you're even doing exams, you find out that by the time it gets to the final exams, your students might not even need to read as much. So that's how you can think of agile, that your students don't even need to read again for exams. If you set an exam at any time, if you give them an emergency exam, you are confident as a teacher that your students would get nothing less than 80% performance. That is agility. That is knowing that you are every day, you are delivering value to your students. They understand everything you have taught every single day. You review it with them, ask them questions, they understand. Okay, what don't they understand? How can you improve on their ability to assimilate and understand what you're teaching them? So when you want to deliver exams to them, no matter which exam they are going to face, they would excel as long as it is in line with every single thing you have taught them. They would excel. So that is agility. You might want to bring in maybe tools. You might want to bring in certain skill sets. You might want to bring in maybe like the STEAM educational methodology. You might want to introduce that into your teaching so that when you're telling them something, you're using that to demonstrate. You're doing demonstrations so that they can understand what you're saying. So there's nothing you cannot do with Agile, my sister or my brother. Just understand what agility is, understand how you can integrate it, and you would never regret it.
I want to build a little bit on Omopeju's answer, who is very complete on the topic. I would say that people who wants to start Agile actually believe that it's too complex, but it starts with simple thing. What are you trying to achieve? If that question you're not able to answer, nothing's gonna work, Agile or anything else. What are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to improve? So you come with this idea, then you think about the second thing. Who are your stakeholders in the school, the students, the parents, other teachers, other universities or schools you're working with? Who are your stakeholders and what is their need? What are they satisfied or are they not satisfied? So, and then secondly, don't be afraid of data. Track everything. Percentage of satisfied and unsatisfied, percentage of recovery, everything, track it down. And based on your vision, on your goal, on what you want to achieve, build metrics and start inspecting and adapting. Focus on one thing. This year, I want to improve X. I'm going to focus on that. How can I make a tiny bit thing that will make sure that we improve? I don't need to bring the 1 year plan in. No, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, in 1 month, in 2 months, what can I do to actually bring this change and this continuous improvement? This being valid in school, this being valid in any entity, enterprise, at home. Same. I usually joke that I do retrospective with my husband, and he found it very, very funny because we actually into the state where we are thinking about continuous improvement. So this is what I wanted to build up on this point. So as a timekeeper, we are 52. I am going to thank Omopeju for the knowledge. So you guys might not know it if you're not real Agiles or in the space, but the level of nuggets of information that have been given here, even for expert Agiles, is incredible. So thanking you for gracing us to coming here, sharing your knowledge, building Africa together. Thank you very much for what you're doing now.
My pleasure. I've had an amazing time too doing this. Thank you for the opportunity.
We had an amazing time listening to you. Your presentation was awesome. For the people who will want to listen to it, it is live on our YouTube, Women in Agile Africa. You'll be able to hear her. We are going to share also links normally on our LinkedIn. You have seen the contact of the people. You'll be able to reach out to her if you want to reach out to her. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you can continue throwing the questions over here. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. So we are going to have our next session with Dr. Mohammed Hussein. Let me just check if he's already in the group, in the chat. Okay. Oh, let me just confirm if I'm getting the plan correct.